In that case, we had a guy that was at a gas station. He had a wife that went inside the store. He was getting gas, and he said a guy came up and just began trying to fight him and had a knife and ended up cutting the guy on the neck. It was kind of the side of the neck. We had another person that saw that, what he thought was a fight taking place. He went to separate the two of them, and he ended up getting a cut to his neck as well. And it was sometime just after that that he realized that the suspect had a knife. The suspect jumped in the car, took off, and a very similar case where neither of these victims knew who the suspect was. There had been nothing that led up to this unprovoked attack. The suspect drove away. They were able to get a description and, again, a license plate number. And then we had a couple of officers that found that car near 3rd Street and Helen Avenue, which is nearby in that area. The suspect was initially brought down to the law enforcement center, and once they pieced everything together, realized that these two different assaults were related. He was arrested for aggravated assault. There were 3 counts of attempted murder, and then also possession of a stolen vehicle. Turns out that that vehicle had been parked, the keys had been left in it, and then our suspect just must have happened upon it, is what we believe took place. So the second victim that had the cut to the side of his neck, that was a non-life-threatening injury. He went to the hospital on his own. And then the last one, it was just a small, I guess maybe kind of a scratch or a small wound. That one did not require any medical treatment. The victim, let's see. The woman that was stabbed is 28. She's from Sioux Falls. The first victim that the suspect was fighting with at the gas station, he is 58, from Sioux Falls. And our third victim, he was the one that tried to separate what he thought was a fight. He is 26, also from Sioux Falls. And you want the suspect's name?
Yes, please.
Last name is Pettigrew, P-E-T-T-I-G-R-E-W. First is Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L. Middle is James Phillip, J-A-M-E-S, P-H-I-L-L-I-P. And he's 31, from Sioux Falls.
Do you know the condition of the female?
I don't. The only thing we said, it was just non-life-threatening, and we generally don't get updates from the hospital unless somebody passes, so we haven't heard anything.
So you'd say over a dozen stab wounds too?
I don't have the exact number. I know it was over 10, but I don't know exactly how many.
Do you know when that vehicle had been stolen, Sam?
The vehicle was stolen, I believe it was, I think it was reported that morning. Let me... Yeah, it was... I think it was just that morning as well, is when it was reported stolen.
And do we know why the suspect was trying to start fights with people?
And we have no idea why he did this. This is, I guess, kind of a scary situation, because I'd say most of the assaults, certainly not all of them, but most of the assaults, there's usually some type of connection between the victim and the suspects. In this case, it was completely unprovoked. Our last victim, he He was injured when he was trying to intervene and separate the two. The two other victims, especially the woman that had received all of those stab wounds, just absolutely nothing. I mean, she was just walking along. This guy got out and basically just attacked her and started stabbing her with a knife.
And Mr. Pettigrew is the suspect in all these alleged crimes?
He is the suspect in all of them, yep.
The attempted murder charge, that stems from the stabbing at the 1200 block of Northwest Avenue?
It's all of them. Yeah, so we have 3 different victims, so with 3 different counts.
Okay.
I don't, the detective wasn't in, so I wasn't able to talk to him. Usually when you have a charge like that, there's some consultation that happens with the state's attorney's office, so I imagine that probably took place over the weekend, but I don't have those details. But we've got 3 different victims. The woman had the numerous stab wounds. The 2 men had stab wounds to their neck, and I believe that's why we have the charges.
And the 3 victims do not know each other?
The victims are completely unrelated as well. They have no idea who each other are.
Is the suspect thought to have been under any influence of alcohol or drugs?
That I don't know. I didn't see anything in the report about that. It's certainly a possibility, but I don't know if we have any clear indication at this point if he was under the influence of alcohol or drugs.
Do you know whereabouts the car was stolen from?
The car, yeah, that was... That was in the 3500 block of South Westport Avenue.
So all of these incidents happened in the northwest quadrant of the city then?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean not the southwest port where the car was stolen.
Oh, okay.
But the other 2 they're not too terribly far apart. I mean, when we're talking on Madison Street and then West Avenue, the 1200 block of West Avenue, I'd say, yeah, they're probably northwest Sioux Falls is safe to say.
And so with the last victim, Sam, kind of intervening between the suspect and the victim, the other victim, second victim, is that something that police would suggest or recommend not doing in that kind of situation? Because I imagine that would be tough to be in that position and not go and try to help.
Yeah, I mean, even the first one we had, people that stopped to help the victim, and I mean, I suppose there's a chance that they could have been injured as well, but people do what they feel they need to do. In a perfect world, obviously we wouldn't have to deal with that. We could say that if you saw a crime, just call police and make sure you're in a safe place. Some people feel the need to intervene. I would say the ones that do, usually there's no problems with that. In this case, I guess thankfully the injury was minor, but our last victim did what he thought he needed to do to try to separate the 2 guys fighting and calm things down. So, I can't tell people what to do in every situation, and a lot of the times when you're caught up and you see something like that, people just react. And I guess the nice thing is he didn't have any serious injury. It certainly could have been a lot worse. Anything else on that one? Okay. We've got, let's see, a lot of reports for the other aggravated assaults. People were threatened, really no serious injuries. We did have a gunshot call. That was Sunday morning. That was in the area of Falcon Place and Pelican Place. We had people that reported hearing gunshots. The number kind of varied. There were some people that saw one person running and another person chasing after and firing a gun. We have not located either victim or suspect, so we're not sure if there was any injuries that took place or what even happened. So nobody called to report it. It was just people in the area that heard the gunshots, and then once the officers started talking to them, they found out that these 2 were chasing each other. So I don't have a whole lot of details on that. That's pretty much it for the aggravated assaults. The arson, that was somebody that set a tree on fire. No suspects on that. The burglaries are basically reports few garages, a couple of houses, some apartments, and some businesses that were entered, but no arrests on any of those. The disorderlies, a lot of reports, a few people in traffic, I guess, wandering in traffic. There was one, I didn't get the age on that, but we had a kid that was outside his home. Actually, a parent was outside as well, and there was a vehicle drove up. They thought there was two women that were it was a larger SUV, and they kind of said something to the kid like they were trying to get him to come into the car. He ran back to dad, and then the vehicle took off. It happened on Friday afternoon about 4 o'clock. We didn't get notified until about 5:30 p.m., but we haven't had anything similar to that. The embezzlements, one was a shoplifting, one was a report. Family disputes and offenses are all reports. Frauds, larcenies, vandalisms, I didn't have a chance to get to those. I didn't hear of anything big. The kidnapping is essentially a report at this point in time. We had a woman that was in a vehicle. It was a ride-sharing vehicle going from one bar to another bar. They were on the interstate on 229, and she noticed that the driver missed the exit, and then he made some comments that kind of made her feel, I guess, not safe is probably the best way, kind of unwarranted or unwanted comments. They passed by a couple of exits. She used the app and basically notified that there was an emergency, and at some point in time, he turned around and dropped her off nearby, near the destination. So not harmed, but he made the comment, something about taking her to her home, and things just didn't sit right with her. So no contact happened between the two of them. It was just the words, and then obviously the driving concerned her as well. So no arrests on that. We know who the driver is. We're still working on that one.
Do you know which app specifically it was, Sam?
Which app it was?
Like Uber or Lyft or...
Yeah. I'm not going to give that detail at this point in time. I think just saying that it's a ride sharing, I think that's probably suffice at this point in time, especially since we don't have any arrests or charges. Let's see. The prostitution, that was some information. The rape is a report. The robbery, that one we had an arrest. That was also Sunday morning. This was, get that pulled up here. This was in the 2700 block of South Carolyn Avenue. It was around 7 a.m., a little bit after 7 a.m. Our victim had left the hotel, was out at her vehicle, and then a guy came up. Was in a vehicle. He came out, ended up showing a knife and wanted her purse. She informed him she didn't have the purse, and he ended up taking her cell phone and then left. We were able to find the cell phone nearby. It was within, I think, a couple of blocks or so, and found the car. And as officers were kind of trying to figure out who the suspect was, they ended up finding him hiding or trying to hide under a vehicle nearby. So he was arrested for robbery, aggravated assault, and that's when it turns out that the vehicle had been stolen, and so he was also charged with the motor vehicle theft. The victim was not injured at all. It was just basically showed the knife and threatened her with the knife. So, do you want his name?
Yes, please.
Last name is Baumann, Baumann. First is Bryce, Bryce. Middle is Nathan, Nathan, and he's 24 from Sioux Falls. Sex offenses are all reports. Simple assaults were assaults and domestics, no aggravated assaults in there. Nothing suspicious with the unattended death. And the weapons violation, that was some gunshots. That was Saturday evening. People heard I guess, a variety of gunshots, 3 to 5, somewhere in that frame. There were 3 shell casings that were found, but no reports of any damage or injury to anybody.
Was there a disfiguring or disfigurement charge?
That was, yeah, that was part of the aggravated assault.
With Mr. Pettigrew as a
Yes,
suspect?
yeah, and that one I haven't seen before, but there's,
Basis that charge?
there's different subsections, and so it was an aggravated assault, disfigure, let me see if I can, I don't think I've seen that one before, but. Sometimes it's, when they enter that into the computer system, they get select the wrong subsection, so the main charge would be accurate, but let me just double check to see. It's aggravated assault with intent to disfigure is the charge.
For Mr. Pettigrew?
Yeah.
He faces 3 counts of that?
No, 3 counts of attempted murder.
Okay, so 1 charge.
One charge, yeah, that was what I said the aggravated assault was. Anything else? Okay, thanks.